The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests.
What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 349. Today's date, for the record, is Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. We are live, as always, on YouTube, streaming to over 150 countries worldwide. And we're also over there on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, streaming to about 3 people. So if you're out there in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there. If you're out there, let us know how ugly we are and how bad the show is and all that. If you're listening to this in podcast form, we do ask you to rate, review, and share. It does help the algorithms. So help us out there if you like what you hear. If not, move along. There's nothing to see here. If you want to text into the show, yes, you can text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. That number is 530-364-4678, and go check out our friends over at Wilder Tactical. They had a great sale on the last couple of weeks, and they've got all sorts of cool stuff. They have the best war belts, duty belts, whatever you want to call them. They have the best belts out there that I've ever run, and I've been using them for a while now. They have med kits. They have all sorts of accessories, anything and everything. If you're a gear junkie, you got to go check out Wilder Tactical. Tell them Ghost sent you. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in that darkness, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I can maybe talk you through some stuff. More importantly, I could probably just be someone that can listen. If you are looking to get towards some medical attention, remember 2 things. 1, you are not alone in this world. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing to fight with you in any given way. So just remember that. And 2, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. Veterans, press the number 1. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are proud members of the Self-Defense Radio Network and the Firearms Radio Network. Go check out all your favorite pro gun, pro toy podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and over at firearmsradio.net. Matter of fact, a couple of the merry band of morons are on the Firearms Radio Network. I know Ginger's over there with State of the Second podcast. Clover's over there with the Clover Tech podcast. Chris, are you over there with Firearms Radio Network? You need to be hooked up over there if you're not.
Not yet.
Well, we need to take care of that. But
sounds like a plan.
Yeah. From the weirdest state in the union, the only state that takes 2 people to spell 4 letters, from Ohio, you have Chris from the 740. What's up, man?
Not much. I'm glad to be back on tonight.
Are you dying on us, I hear, huh?
Huh?
You're dying on us. You're dying on us.
I am. I got the doggone cough again.
He's got the cough. So what we figured out, what Ginger and I'm pretty sure we figured out what the problem is. Every time that Chris gets a Chinese optic sent to him, he seems to get COVID. So just saying. Hashtag gingers are weird. Yes, they are, Snob. Yes, they are. They're also evil and soulless and should have their own holiday. Oh, wait, they do. It's called Halloween. So, yeah. Yeah. What's going on with the channel there, Chris? You guys have any shows coming up, or what reviews you got coming up down the line?
We don't have any shows coming up, but I filmed all weekend with the New Cox Arms, the EMR1. That was really liking that rifle.
Yeah,
very pretty good rifle there.
It's a very good rifle. Yep.
Yeah. Did some more work with the Jackal. I stayed pretty busy over the weekend, and then Sunday I just kind of felt like death, and here we are.
Just saying. That's how China is spreading COVID, is through Amazon these days. They figured out that we're not going to do all the stuff that we used to do, but through Amazon, that's how they're spreading this shit.
That's why we don't ever see G-Webs. He's got like a perpetual case of COVID.
Yeah, that's why we don't see G-Webs. Yeah. That weird voice from the great state of Texas, the gatekeeper of everything Texas pride, the tactical leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Hey, man. Hey, man.
Everything.
It's good.
Yeah? Well, good.
Yeah. I missed last week, didn't I? Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. So.
Maybe. Was that a storm? Oh, maybe that might have meant storm night, maybe.
I think so. I think it was.
I don't remember. Yeah, because was it last Tuesday is when we got Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
We got like 8 inches of rain here, so yeah.
I was lumberjacking.
Yeah, you were cutting down trees.
That's what I was doing. But much like Jackal, I'm a lumberjack, baby. Okay. Go look it up.
Yeah.
You know.
Ginger's like, huh? You got a shotgun for us this week?
Man, got to see some Brita shotguns at GunCon.
Yeah,
pretty pimp. Yeah, I didn't even realize, but Brita was a part of Benelli before Benelli and Beretta got kind of together.
Yeah,
and they've been around like forever. Or like
I've heard them, but I don't know hardly anything about them.
Yeah, when I say forever, I mean like a century or some kind of shit or more. Like 150 years.
I don't think I've ever shot one or even been around one to my knowledge. So
no, probably not. But they're like they're high end. I mean, without a doubt, and they're I would say like picture Benelli, but then like Benelli custom shop or something almost.
Okay. All right.
So nice. If you got sacks full of money, well, there you go. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. Probably not buying a Brita.
I really wanted one after I shot it until he told me how much they were.
I know. I'm like, oh, okay.
What are we talking here?
I think they started around 1800 or something. Like started.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do shoot nice though.
Oh yeah, they are. They're really nice.
I don't think I could ever see myself spending that kind of money on a shotgun. I don't see, unless I was doing like competition clay stuff or big into something that had to do with shotgun. You know, I just don't see myself, you know. But I mean, those people, I say those people that would spend $2,000 on a shotgun probably wouldn't spend $2,000 on an AR either. So that probably works both ways, you know.
Well, they have their defensive models and all kinds of things, man. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a Ginger, my lord, and a flatbed Ford. From the Gun Owners of America and Fully Loaded Reviews, we have John, the Ginger Soulless Bastard. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? Special team, special players. Tuesday.
That's right. Speaking of Tuesday, what's going on 2A Tuesday?
My weekend was destroyed on Saturday, so I couldn't tell you what happened last week.
Why? Because they missed?
Oh, no. I was pulled into a bunch of crisis chats and things like that, and I've just been so focused on the aftermath.
Well, you guys are a month away. I think those crisis chats are going to be a little more frequent, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, good news. I guess you could say it's good news. Daniel Defense joined on today. So they've got a huge booth for goals.
There you go.
And the floor plan is looking starting to fill up even more and more. So I'm super excited. We're getting ready for that in Knoxville, August 17th and 18th. GOA's first convention, goals. Be there or be square.
We just booked our house last night. So
you should have got an email. You should get an email this week, Trey. Heads up.
Okay.
Keep an eye out for Alex.
For Alex, will do. But yeah, no, it's I know everyone's excited. I'm excited. I'm sure everyone's excited that plans on going to goals. If you're going to be around the Knoxville, Tennessee area next month. All it takes is a $25 membership to GOA. That's all it takes. And get in. Is it Saturday and Sundays open to the public, correct?
Yep.
Am I mistaken?
Saturday and Sunday open to the public. 9 to 7 Saturday, 9 to 4 on Sunday. Your panel, I want to say it's Sunday.
Oh, it's Sunday. All right. You screwed me on that, but it's all good.
Hey, I didn't pick. Don't blame me. It wasn't me.
I've got to drive in 8 hours, then work the next morning. So, yeah. Thanks, homie.
Is it a full day Sunday? What are the hours Sunday, John?
9 to 4.
And my thing starts at like 2:30.
Hold on. Let me make sure that your thing actually. You should have got an email today, I thought.
I probably did, but I didn't check.
I didn't get nothing.
I was working today.
Am I still on one?
I'm working. Yeah, yours is at 2:25 on Saturday on Sunday, the 18th.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say Saturday I'm okay with.
Oh.
But Sunday that's
2:25 to 3:10.
Thanks, man. I feel your love. I feel the love.
I didn't make the schedule. That wasn't me.
You got what, 8 hours?
I got an 8-hour drive. I got to be at work the next morning. Because like we get done at 3:10, which means we get 4 o'clock. I might be out, so I'll be going around midnight.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not. Not one bit.
Not one bit. Not at all. I have to make you suffer somehow for making fun of me.
I'm suffering because I'm staying with Clover. Don't you think that's suffering enough?
I plead the fifth.
We almost stayed in the projects. Literally, we were close to staying in the projects.
Well,
ended up not staying in the projects, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm still working on. I'm working on Clover. I promise, Clover. I'm still working on getting you on. Kaylee brought your name up the other day, so some sort of breakout session with Clover.
Oh, I was just asking. Yeah, maybe how to not be a douche on YouTube as far as policy goes. Because I can definitely
on that.
I can definitely teach as far as policy goes. I caveated that. Yeah, that's the little heading underneath. So, like how to not be a douche on YouTube would absolutely draw people into my breakout session, because you'd be like, why is this dude teaching that? He's like the best at being a douche on YouTube. But then the little subheading is where we get them. See.
I mean,
I'm thinking about tactics. I want to get people in the room, man. It's all part of being a douche. What can I say?
I'm thinking Chicago, Mike, RGG. That could be a great session.
Oh yeah.
What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody?
Now, Clover, this has got to be like a 20-minute talk. This sounds like you're going to go for like an hour.
He can't talk for 20 minutes. There's no way he could do it for 20 minutes, even by himself. Can you imagine like having other panel members be like, "What the hell are we here for? Why are we here?"
I don't know.
Just kidding. All right. What's going on with FLR? Anything?
We are working on our video of the Sky CPX 2 Gen 3. This is going to be...
Well, that's easy as junk. Moving on.
This is going to be our funniest video to date.
It should be your shortest video. I'm just saying.
Maybe it got chucked about 30 yards after firing it, so we'll see.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. All right. Tired. What am I going to do? Oh, yeah. Every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday over in our YouTube community tab, we have the pony polls. The pony polls. We're missing Kyle tonight. He's at a dinner function. So he said he might jump in when he gets home. It depends on how late it is when he gets home. But he's at a function and dinner. He's big. He's big time. So he's almost at Clover's big time level. I'd say almost. But you guys know we have the pony polls. Let's go over and check them out. The first one was put out yesterday. It's got over 1,000 votes. All right. Best 80 of this list. Best 80s American band. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, or Journey. Ginger, are you familiar with the 80s? It was a decade about 40 years ago.
Yes, I'm familiar with the 80s.
You've heard of it. You've heard it, obviously.
Yes. So
okay.
This one was a little hard because I do like some of Journey's songs, but Metallica's got to win it out.
I love Journey. I love, yeah.
I'm gonna have to say Metallica. It was a really tough one, but I'm going with Metallica on that.
Okay, all right. Clove, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, or Journey? Yeah.
What era? 80s?
80s. So this is not Van Hagar. This is probably Van Halen. Or I guess it could be the beginning of Van Halen. I know you're a fan of Van Hagar. So
Van Hagar was later 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. 88, I believe. So it'd still be considered Van Hagar. Would still be considered Van Halen of the 80s. Man, if that's your thing.
I'm going Guns N' Roses. I think 80s. I got Guns N' Roses. Yeah.
Yeah.
GNR.
I would agree with that. GNR's top 5 my favorite bands of all time. I love all these bands. I'm a David Lee Roth Van Halen guy, not a Van Hagar guy. I got a comment in this.
The difference is I don't hate you for it, but
But I hate you for it. Yeah. I hate the what is it? The Red Rocket? Is that what he calls himself? The Red Rocket or something like that?
I don't know.
I got a comment that says Van Halen saved music in the 80s. It saved rock and roll. I'm like, Guns N' Roses saved rock and roll. After all of the synthesized stuff, the new wave stuff, and then going into hair band, Appetite for Destruction saved pure rock and roll in the 80s. But that's just my opinion. Christopher, Metallica, GNR, Van Halen, or Journey?
I really like all 4 of these bands, but I'm going Metallica.
Yeah. No, I think obviously, for me at least, it's Metallica and Guns N' Roses. I'd put Guns N' Roses just slightly above, but I honestly put Journey in third. I was never. I mean, I like some of the Van Halen songs, but Steve Perry, man, that dude's got one of the best voices ever. Journey was pretty damn good too. I don't think people remember how good Journey really was. They were really, really good. But over 1,000 votes, 50% say Metallica. In a shocking turn of events, at 19% in second place is Van Halen. In third place with 18% is Guns N' Roses, and coming in fourth place with 13% is Journey. A little surprised that Van Halen, even by 1 percentage point, was higher than Guns N' Roses. That's surprising to me. Surprising, I tell you. Let's see here. Our next one, it's got 2.1 thousand votes. You'll see a theme here. It's best 80s action movie. And one of these, people were complaining they don't think it's an action movie, but I think it 100% is an action movie. But your 4 choices: Top Gun, Die Hard, First Blood, or Lethal Weapon. A lot of people don't think that Top Gun's an action movie. It may not be the run and gun, shoot 'em up action, but you take an F-14 Tomcat, it's pretty good action right there. So I put that on the list. But Clove, let's start with you. Top Gun, Die Hard, First Blood, or Lethal Weapon?
The romantic love interest portion of Top Gun may be what distinguishes it from the others.
Could be.
There was a story there right behind it. Not that McClane didn't love his wife, or that you know what I'm saying. But
I will say that in Lethal Weapon, the South African secretary at the consulate is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. So I was happy to see that in Lethal Weapon too. So anyways,
I go Die Hard.
Die Hard. There's a
Die Hard.
There's a surprise, to say the least. Shocker. Chris,
I heard the British version was good.
Of what?
Die Hard.
Okay, I'll bite.
They're sitting on the couch. They're going to England for Ross's wedding. He's like, we can rent Die Hard. Oh, I bet the British version's good.
Yeah. I too the best cameo. There's a lot of great cameos in Friends, but the 2 or 3 episode cameo of Bruce Willis in Friends was epic. It really was.
Just
that and Brad Pitt. I too am just a love machine. Great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Chris, Top Gun, Die Hard, First Blood, or Lethal Weapon? Best 80s action
First
movie.
Blood for me.
First Blood. That's where I'm going. I love all the Rambo movies, but
I still probably watch that movie a couple times every year.
Yeah.
I
hope Yoko doesn't hear this. My door's closed, but the first time that I ever realized that I was somewhat interested in Asian women was in Rambo 2, or First Blood Part 2. That girl in that movie was unbelievably beautiful. I just remember, something about Asian women, huh? Okay, all right. Yeah, I love all the Rambo movies. We'll come back to that in a second. Ginger, Top Gun, Die Hard, First Blood, or Lethal Weapon?
I like them all, but I'm going to go with Lethal Weapon. I really like how Mel Gibson plays the character in there. I'm going to suggest a poll for next week because it's got me thinking. Because they're trilogies, they're both cop movies. I would like to see Lethal Weapon versus Beverly Hill Cop.
That could actually be pretty good.
That's my suggestion. I really like Beverly. If I were to put an honorable mention on this, I would put Beverly Hill Cop as the honorable mention.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think that Beverly Hills Cop is an action movie. I think it's a good movie. It's a comedy and all that. But I don't. When I think action movie, I don't think that's just me. What do you guys think, Chloe, Chris? Beverly Hills Cop, is that an action movie to you guys?
No, because I couldn't take Eddie Murphy serious. Like
to me.
I mean, the guy's funny. So to me, it was more of a comedy. I thought
there's some action scenes, but it's not one of those action movies where it's like kind of like nonstop action. You know,
it's more of a lighthearted comedy. But I mean, if you're gonna go down that route, Lethal Weapon's pretty funny. A lot of Lethal Weapon to me, so I would still say it's action.
The best character in Lethal Weapon has to be Pesci as Leon Getz. Okay. Leon Getz was great. But yeah, so let's come back real quick before we move on to the next one. And we talk about the First Blood. I think everyone appreciates the First Blood in the Rambo series. Do y'all have a favorite? Because I just watched one over the weekend that I watched the last one, Rambo Last Blood, where he goes down to Mexico and tries to save his niece and all that. Have you guys seen that? I know Clover you have, but Chris, that's probably my favorite Rambo movie. I think that is the coolest Rambo movie there was the last one. I love them all, but that one to me is my favorite. What's your favorite Rambo movie?
I'm still going to go First Blood.
First Blood, yeah.
But I liked them all. And man, that scene when the cartel showed up on his property in that last movie, that was
about the best 15 minutes of action you're going to see in a while. Like that was really good.
It was jam packed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really good. Ginger, what's your favorite? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that movie was rough.
It was. No. The first third of it was rough. Yeah. Which one's your favorite, Clove? Which Rambo movie, if you had to pick one?
Man, honestly, probably that last one.
Yeah.
As rough as it was. I mean,
yeah.
The rest are
30 minutes was unbelievable. It really was. I mean, it was unbelievable.
So it's really weird. The first one and the last one are definitely like the better two.
I agree. And I think, yeah.
The ones in the middle are just...
They were good.
They're just action movies. There's not a lot of story or character development or just... There's not a lot of anything really in there. It's just a bunch of shoot 'em up. That's why Hot Shots made so much fun of them and other parodies and stuff, I think, with Rambo and all the Rambo movies, right?
Yep.
Because those are all Rambo. There was First Blood, and then all the rest.
First Blood, and then it was Rambo, First Blood Part 2, then Rambo 3, and then Rambo something, and then Rambo Last Blood. I think it was Rambo, or it was First Blood, then Rambo First Blood Part 2, then like Rambo 3, and then I think it was just Rambo, and then the last one was Rambo Last Blood. I think there was one of them just called Rambo for some reason.
That was the one where he went. Did they go back to Vietnam and he had the sniper with him with the 50 TMG? Yeah.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
I think that was just called Rambo.
Yeah. Like a younger guy, I think.
And to me, that was the worst one. I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but of all of them, I think that was my least favorite.
The scenes with the 50 were pretty good.
Yeah, but that didn't carry the whole movie, you know.
And the bow he had in that one, the bow he had in that one was pretty awesome too. But that's
I don't remember the bow, but I'm not a bow guy, so I mean, you know, bow. I mean, I don't know the difference of a really cool bow and just they all look the same to me. But yeah, no, the last one was my favorite for sure. Ginger, what about you?
I actually like the one that you guys hate. I don't know.
I don't know if they do. I don't hate it. It's my least favorite.
I don't know which one's more iconic scene for Rambo. Him on that 50 cal or him with the M60. Like they're both great scenes and they're both iconic scenes, but they don't make the movie. I'm just saying those are the ones that stand out.
Ironically, for me, the two most iconic scenes come from the same movie. And it's the second movie, Rambo First Blood Part 2. One of them when he shoots the explosive tip arrow at the Russian guy and explodes him on the rock. But to me, the most like iconic Rambo scene in any of the movies is when he's in the mud wall and all of a sudden his eyes open in the mud and you don't see him. All you see is the eyes open and he stabs a guy. To me, that's like the quintessential Rambo scene is hiding in the mud and just opening your eye. That was pretty cool. I'll never forget that. I remember seeing that in the movie. I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. So I don't know. That's just me. 2.1 thousand votes. 39% say Die Hard. 25% in second place is Top Gun. In third place with 24% is First Blood. And coming in last with just 12% is Lethal Weapon. So there you have it. Our last question, 1.7 thousand votes. Best 80s movie gun. You've got the pulse rifle from Aliens, the shotgun from Terminator, the minigun from the handheld minigun from Jesse Ventura had and Predator, and the proton pack from Ghostbusters. I had to throw that in there. Chris, what's the best of those four? What's the best 80s movie gun?
Oh, the minigun.
Yeah. Anything with the minigun's got to win, right? I mean, that's just me. Minigun always wins. Ginger, what about you? Of those four, which one?
Minigun.
Minigun?
It's close between the proton pack and the minigun.
I threw the proton pack in there as a kind of a joke, but it actually got more votes than I thought it would. So
I'm surprised you didn't put like a Beretta 92 or a MP5 on there.
So here's the thing: if I would have put the 92 or the MP5, it would have been. No, what I should have done is done the MP5 or the Beretta 92 is a 1-versus-1, like a just two choices, and let it go. But if I figure if I would have put either one of those on there, it runs away. I wanted to be somewhat,
even the AUG
competitive. See, I mean, it's called the AUG, by the way, but
I'm sorry, my bad.
So millennials, but yeah. Clove, what about you? Pulse rifle, the shotgun from Terminator, the minigun, or the proton pack?
Man.
All pretty iconic.
So what's the premise on this?
Best 80s movie gun. Just best 80s movie gun.
The best in general?
Just whatever your favorite 80s movie gun of those four. What was like the
Man.
Reason why for me it's the minigun is that was the first time I remember ever seeing a minigun as a kid, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I've kind of been infatuated with the minigun ever since.
I kind of like the idea of a proton pack, especially if you get into the newer ones. They get a little more into.
Did you say manure ones?
Into the newer ones.
Oh, I thought you said manure ones. I was like, what the hell? Like
no.
Proton pack.
Like a nuclear reactor, walking around with basically a nuclear reactor or whatever. That's kind of cool. So, yeah, proton pack.
Okay.
Realistically, absolutely no use for it. But as far as being cool, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. No, that's what this is all about. What would you want to have? 1.7 thousand votes. 50% went with a handheld minigun. Not a surprise there. People on my channel have really good taste. In second place with 19% is the pulse rifle from Aliens. In third place with 18% is the shotgun from Terminator. And bringing up the rear with 13% is the proton pack. And that actually got more than I thought it would get. But yeah, I mean, handheld minigun, come on. What are you going to do? Those are this week's pony polls. Go check out our friends over Anderson Manufacturing. Go give them a follow on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, over on X, artist formerly known as Twitter. And tell them Go sent you. And if you want to, go to their website and buy something. I believe all four of us in here have codes. I think John's is FLR. Clover's is yours is Clover's at CloverTac.
It's CloverTac.
CloverTac. And Chris is Chris from the 740, all one word. And mine's just Ghost. But we don't receive anything from this. This is something that Anderson has done to save you guys some money. So utilize one of our codes and do it to it. Thanks. And go check out AndersonManufacturing.com. So let me get this out of this screen and get back over to here. Excuse me. All right. So topic tonight. This is something that I had a conversation with a friend, and he kind of asked me this like as a joke, and then I kind of started thinking, I said, oh, that could be a cool topic. So we're going to run with it a little bit. The topic tonight, guys, I want to hear you guys out here in the live chat as well. If you're watching this a replay or listening to it in podcast form, I want to hear it in the comments. Let us know what it is. So the premise is any gun. It doesn't handgun, shotgun, lever action, bolt action, AR, any kind of whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter. This is not necessarily a specific purpose, but I'm assuming that if you do this, you're going to give the reasoning why, like you're going to have a purpose for this. And our ultimate gun builds. If you could, and I'm not saying money's not an object. I'm just saying, like, if I'm not saying a brand, right? It doesn't have to be like this brand of this and this brand of this, but what kind of platform, what caliber, you have optics on it, accessories, whatever. Like if you had the ultimate gun build that you said, okay, I've always wanted to do this build. It could be a handgun, whatever it is. What's the favorite gun build? So I'm gonna start with Ginger, and I don't want you to go into specifics, but I'm gonna ask you. The first question is what platform will it be based? Is it a handgun, AR, lever action, shotgun, whatever? What's the ultimate gun build that you would do or put together? It's not build a gun, but if you were going to add stuff to it, whatever, the gun build, right? However you want to do it. What's the platform you're starting with?
I'm going lever gun.
Okay. Lever gun.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. We'll come back. Chloe, what about you? What platform is the base for your ultimate gun build?
No, this is assuming we have the knowledge and the equipment to do it.
What's that now?
So is this assuming we have the knowledge and the equipment to do it?
Yeah. I mean, if all of that was given and you say, hey, I've always wanted to do this, I want to build this gun or whatever. Or I want to customize this gun. I want to take this and customize it to like the ultimate gun for me. Revolver. Interesting. This could be interesting conversation because the first two have gone not necessarily way off of where I thought they would, but it's going to be interesting because I want to hear how an ultimate gun build with lever action revolver would go. So we're going to come back to that. Chris, what about you?
So I'm going to go. John's is one of mine. I really want to do a lever action. Like,
okay,
that's something I kind of wanted to start like this year, but
yeah,
I'm going to go way off on a different one because this is something I've been really wanting to do here lately. I want to build a complete Ruger 1022 from the ground up, like a target match barrel, the whole.
Interesting.
I've never messed around with one, so this is something that I think Tandem Cross kind of got my mind going when I was at GunCon, looking at all their stuff they had there. So
play around with the Powder River Precision stuff.
Yeah, they're yeah. After shooting those at range day, yeah. So yeah, 1022 is what I'm really wanting to do right now.
Interesting. I like that. I was gonna go with a lever and a specific build, but John's gonna do that. So I'm gonna go. My next one would be an AR-10, but not for competition, or it's gonna be like an all-around kind of like a battle gun, right? Being able to do CQB with it, be able to still get out to like 500 yards. We'll go into that a little bit. All right, John, let's start with you. I'm going to give you a few minutes and let's talk about your lever action build. And I'm sure that Clover and Chris and I will have remarks throughout this, but I'm going to go ahead and let you start talking about your ultimate gun build with the lever action.
Yeah.
What's going to be like the theme of it, is if there is one?
Modern cowboy.
Modern cowboy. Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to have like a mix of like the forend is going to be my M-Lock compatible with like Picatinny rails on the front of it. And then the back end, I'm going to go wood with a big loop and like leather wrapping around the big loop. And then caliber wise, I'm going to stick with 357 just because ease of compatibility with my my new or my new revolver that I got, my single action army.
Yeah.
And then optic wise, this is where I've debated back and forth. Do I do like a scout scope or like an LPVO scout scope with the longer eye relief, or do I go like a enclosed emitter red dot? And I've been going back and forth. EOTech would be preferred, but I just think they look so dumb.
I think EOTech on a lever. I mean, as much as I love EOTechs, I think an EOTech on a lever would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
This is just me. What caliber did you say you want it to be?
357.
Okay, so it's not like you're going to reach out and touch someone. So an LPVO would probably be overkill on that. I think that just a simple tube dot, or even like an open reflex, kind of like an RMR style dot, would be a pretty cool look on that. I don't know. Clover, Chris, what do you guys think for giving Ginger some optic ideas for the lever?
Well, I was gonna ask about the stock. Would you go?
Okay, go for it. Yeah,
go.
Yeah,
wood, or to be more specific, would you go with a laminate of some sort?
The one I'm looking at currently, if you want that, there's a company called G-Force Arms just dropped their Huckleberry with the wood stock. I believe it's Turkish walnut, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or Turkish,
yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So I really like the way that looks wood wise. Red dot wise, like I like what you're thinking. I was thinking more closed emitter because I don't really like the reflex. So maybe like a hollow sun.
Yeah, like a tube
Yeah.
dot. Or are you okay, like a 507 or something like that?
It's like either the
509.
or even the EPS.
Oh,
Just a
okay.
small
Yeah,
little
sure.
dot that goes on top of it, or even
Yeah.
like the Kraken, the Swamp Fox Kraken, or something that's like an enclosed emitter.
Real quick, Fluffy, send me an email, and I can get with Kyle, and Kyle might jump on if he gets done with his dinner in time. Let me know, and I don't know, but he might be able to help you out with this. So, send me an email if Kyle does not jump on the panel before we get done. Send me an email. I'll make sure that Kyle gets this, and maybe he can get in touch with you and see if we can figure something out for you. So I'm not saying that he's going to. I'm not speaking for Anderson, but I know the Anderson people, and if there's anything they can do to help a customer, they will certainly do that. So, and it might be a mistake. They might have. I don't know if it was supposed to be in there or not, but we'll find out. Anyways, so I'm gonna kind of piggyback on your lever because the lever that I was gonna go with is so do you guys seen John Wick 4? And the tracker had a badass lever action. I think it was Midwest Industries kind of furniture with the hand guard and all of that. I think it was a Marlin. And Clover, you've seen the movie. I think that's based off of Marlin, is it not? The lever action from John Wick 4.
I've seen it one time. I wasn't paying that much attention.
I'll look it up.
I think it was a Marlin, but I might be wrong.
Usually,
but anyways,
movies it is Marlins. Usually,
yeah. But that lever action would be something
it was an 1894.
1894.
Usually,
okay.
Yeah, well, there's Jurassic Park or whatever. Usually, it's Marlins. Yeah.
But the way that the hand guard, the furniture, and all that. Now it was a synthetic stock. It was not wood. I think it was a synthetic stock, and he had. If I was going to go a lever action, it'd be something kind of like that. I think would be like you called it modern cowboy. I would call it like Mad Max, a Mad Max-ish kind of lever action. I think it'd be kind of cool. I would go 357 as well, but I think that'd be a cool build. When I saw John Wick 4, I was like, that's a lever action I could be down with, but I'll do that later. Anything else with the lever that you want to go into? Oh yeah, go ahead.
That gun was made by Mad Pig Customs, and it is a 1894 dark takedown in 44 mag.
Yeah. I want to say that the handguard's a Midwest, and I might be wrong about that. I thought I read somewhere it was a Midwest Industry handguard.
Probably a Midwest Industry handguard. I didn't read into it that much, but I'm going with it is threaded, so probably a suppressor of some sort.
Okay. What length are you thinking? Barrel length here?
That's been going back and forth. I like the look of the 16-inch barrel.
Okay.
But also, the 20-inch holds more ammo. So it's like either you give up once you put the suppressor on, now you're looking at what, 26, 27 with a 20-inch barrel and a little over 21 with a 16-inch barrel. So I'd like to try to keep it short and compact. And personally, I like the look of the carbines with the big loop over the 20-inch with the standard.
No.
So leather wrapped. If it was in a perfect world,
okay,
I think the receiver would be case hardened just for that look.
Okay.
I like the case hardened look. It looks really old school. I wouldn't say octagon barrel. I'd go like with a standard barrel, but like a case hardened look on the receiver because the handguard's going to cover most of the barrel. I think that's about it.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
And some sort of like hand stop on the rail, not like an angle foregrip, but some sort of like
just a regular hand stop.
Yeah, something like that.
Something simple. It's not gonna like look weird.
Yeah, maybe if I'm really maybe an IR laser. something like that for night time. But
I mean, this is the ultimate build. You can do whatever the hell you want, you know?
yeah, an IR laser on the side.
I mean, do you have in your mind, do you have like an objective with this, or is there a specific task that this is going to be built for? Or is it just because you want to have it?
Really, just because I want to have, you know what? In all honesty, it'd be my Naughty After Dark gun. It'd be the gun I'd bring to Naughty to show off and have fun with.
Sure.
So it's literally just because I've always wanted a lever gun, something that's tactical.
If you're going to take to the Naughty and you get the clearance to do that, you should take some tracers with it. It'd be kind of cool.
I wish I could do tracers. He won't.
As I say, if you get clearance, I mean, the problem with tracers is it can catch shit on fire pretty easily. But if you get cleared, that'd be kind of cool to do tracers at Naughty After Dark. Just saying.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of what else I would put on it. Maybe some of those. What are they called? The little sections of rail that have like texturing on the outside. They're not really. You know what I'm talking about? They've got like texturing on the outside.
So like the grip rail? It's not necessarily a Picatinny. It's just a grip rail.
Yeah,
I don't know their names. I call them grip rails. I'm sure they have like a legit name, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah, some grip rails to go on, and preferably one without a external safety on the lever gun. If you know, like how the Rossies have that external safety tab on the top. That would be one of the ones I was thinking of. Too.
Yeah. Sorry, back chat. So yeah. Lever would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Clove, I'm interested here. I'm interested in the ultimate revolver build. What would be the base model that you would start this with?
Well, you said build, so that's why.
Yeah, but I'm saying is, are you using like a 686? I mean, are you literally building a revolver from scratch?
Building from the ground up. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
That's why I asked the specific questions I asked, like given the knowledge and equipment. I would want a near 100% modular revolver.
Okay.
So we've got, there has been revolvers out there where certain things are kind of interchangeable. The Medusa had the ability, of course, to do a wide variety of calibers. Dan Wesson's, some of those like that, pretty easy with barrel changes. I would like to see all of those aspects, including some modularity and grip options, maybe even some modularity to go to change out hammer spurs, where you could go with a wider, shorter, stubby, smooth, just across the board modularity. Just that was just insane. Almost like picture like Glock, for example, in a revolver, right? Like all the different accessories, different parts and things you could swap on a Glock, right? The strikers, the firing pins, the trigger shoes, basically everything with the frame, right?
Sure.
I mean, you could go with barrels that were shrouded, non-shrouded, pick rails, full pick rails. Think about the sighting options you would have, all that good stuff, right? I'm thinking on the cylinder, there would have to be some engineering obviously involved in this, but with the cylinder, I think that what you would do is you would go with the largest caliber available. Would have to pretty much be your base, right? And then would
you go like a 44 Magnum or?
Yeah, you would have to go. Probably. I mean, you could probably go with something as bulky, even as like the Raging Hunters or something like that, in like 454 Casull or even 460 S&W.
Okay.
I don't see any reason really to go like 500 S&W. 460 S&W would probably be good. Probably survive.
The 454 is pretty badass, so that'd be kind of fun to begin with.
You could have your cylinder adapters that would adapt everything down to the smaller cartridges, right?
So I know 44 Magnum 350 are center fired. I don't know, is like 454, is that center fired?
Yeah.
Okay, so could you go ignorance here? Ignorance.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do rimfire. My thoughts, you wouldn't be able to do rimfire in this. I don't see.
Yeah, no, I would imagine you probably couldn't.
I mean,
but
let me take that back. Yeah, actually, you could, depending on how the hammer design was set up and changing those hammer spurs out.
Okay,
all
you
would need to do would be relocate the firing pin, so you could
slide it over, I guess,
for a rimfire, like a rimfire hammer spur.
Yeah.
Swap, and then
now let's say you start out with a 454 or 44 Magnum. Let's just say 44 Magnum, and you're talking about like a cylinder exchange to maybe go down to the smaller.
No, I'm talking about inserts for the cylinders, not having to change the actual cylinder itself.
Okay, so if you have cylinder inserts, could you go down to 357 or 38 special or something like that?
Yeah, you could go to anything smaller because with a cylinder insert, it would center everything, right?
Okay.
So if your barrel, your bore, your through bore, and everything else was all trued and centered on the largest diameter, then as you did that down, it would just be a matter of that barrel assembly offsetting. You feel what I'm saying? To account for the center again.
Okay.
So, but that would be like with a barrel swap, you would take care of that. So you would throw your inserts in, swap the barrel, and you're ready to go again for a center fire, right? That would be the only thing that you needed to do. And have kind of a push button swivel lock barrel change, much like the takedown stuff that we see with the 1022 Ruger and a lot of the other stuff, right? So where it kind of swivels in, some kind of a latch, and everything locks up.
Okay. So we've got the base idea of the gun. What kind of accessories or what would be added to that revolver, or would you add anything? Like, what kind of sights are you talking about?
Well, we're talking modularity, right? So with the modularity,
would you have a rail on it?
You could have the modularity for it to accept a rail or be gutter sided or
Okay.
Like it could have a full pick rail. And then with that full pick rail, you could add whatever optics or sights you wanted. You could have a partial pick rail, right? You could have like a barrel assembly. That would be, in my mind anyway, that would all be kind of made into that barrel assembly with maybe like a lock-in pin or something at the back of the strap of the receiver, just for additional sturdiness, I guess, where it kind of maybe it locked into a groove or something. Could see something along that lines. But essentially, you could have all types of, because it's modular. What I'm saying, the sky's kind of the limit. You could have.
What's the frame going to be? The base frame's going to be, though. If it's modular, then basically basically what you're explaining to me, and maybe I'm missing the point here, is having a modular gun is having a base frame and then being able to interchange parts of different things. But what it sounds like to me is like you've got all these other parts that you're just going to build a separate gun. That's a separate gun because you're not using anything from the previous gun. If you're going to mod it down from a 44 Magnum, maybe the cylinder with the inserts might be the only thing that you're keeping. Everything else is going to be a new barrel. I mean, everything's going to be new. So
the frame
doesn't that sound like to me they're just different guns? It's not one gun. It's parts for 10 different guns that share the same cylinder. I don't know. I mean, maybe am I missing something? I might be.
Yeah, you're missing something because we're talking about, essentially you would have one frame and then.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is like what's the frame? What's the frame that you would base this off?
I don't know. I mentioned the Taurus like a Raging Hunter or something earlier. Maybe the frame off of something like that, but it would have to be. You couldn't take that frame. I'm not speaking in the context like John did, where he said, "Oh, I'm going to take this particular gun and change this and change that." It's not going to work because there's not the aftermarket parts or other things, and that's the whole point. Is I want like maximum modularity. So what I would have to do is I could do that, given the knowledge and the equipment. I could certainly take a Taurus, let's say a Taurus Raging Hunter, and I could figure out a way to chop the grip and work it in some way where all that could be changed, and or the grip frame, right? The receiver. I could figure out a way to quick detach barrels. I could figure out a way to do things within that. I mean, I could, but it might be easier, just to mill out or machine a frame from the get go that's already set up to accept all of the different modular components that I'm talking about. You feel what I'm saying? Not really.
I've got a
Yeah.
question.
I've got many questions. Go
John,
ahead, John.
Chris, does anybody else?
No, I get what you're saying, but how do you overcome the fact of when you put in? So let's just say it's going off of a 454 Casull cartridge is the parent cartridge building up. How do you get over the fact that like a 38 special, the jump between where the projectile goes in that adapter to the forcing cone, like that's a lot of nothing. Are you rifling that and then it goes from that out the barrel into the forcing cone?
It would probably have to be almost like an extended. It wouldn't be an extended forcing cone, so it would have to be extended within the cylinder. I get what you're saying. It would have to be extended within the cylinder, but that could be easily done by way of the inserts, I think.
Yeah, no,
And it wouldn't have to be rifled. It'd be cylinders are smooth, right? So it could be picture a all it has to do is keep the round until it gets into the forcing cone. All it has to do is keep it in alignment.
Yeah, but how do you keep it in alignment from? I mean, thinking of modern revolvers, and you can tell me I'm overthinking this, but with modern revolvers, if the projectile is not that far from the forcing cone, and there's maybe a quarter inch that it has to go. We're talking like maybe if we're talking with a 454 Casull, we're maybe talking 2-3 inches.
Well, what if the inserts were designed in such a way that they incorporated a firing pin extension, which then set them closer to the forcing cone?
So what you're saying is you'd unscrew the end of the insert, put the projectile in, screw the insert in.
We didn't have to screw it. It would be a drop in. It would be like a round on top of a round, almost.
So kind of like best way to compare to is like a cartridge conversion for
similar, yeah,
for a black powder. So where the firing pin's on the outside of where the cylinder goes in, you put that firing pin thing and it hits the firing pin and that sets it off. The little. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I have no fucking clue.
Now, would you go?
And what's interesting is I think you could even devise a way where those conversions slash firing pin extensions were modular in and of themselves, where you could add length or take away length according to whichever cartridge you wanted to convert over to. So therefore, you wouldn't need like a whole set of them. You feel what I'm saying?
So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Wouldn't it be easier to split the cylinder and put that little piece in and it locks into the cylinder so you can break the cylinder open and put them in and that stays in place?
Split the cylinder. Trying to follow.
So you have a cylinder that goes to like 38 special length, and then there's another piece that goes behind it. That's the firing pin extension. And how do you get over?
Snap! Having a double cylinder is what you're talking about, and then changing out the whole. So this is interesting. So you would change your firing pin conversions based on the rear of the two cylinders rather than individual cartridge inserts.
Yeah, because but also you're talking about that length. So will you have to change out hammer springs so it has enough momentum to actually set the cartridge off?
I think there would be enough. I don't think there's going to be enough force lost even on Even on some of your modern stuff, I don't think there's going to be enough energy lost in transfer to do that.
G-Webs, what I'm talking about, if you've ever seen a cartridge conversion for like a black powder gun, they are two separate cylinder pieces that lock into each other. So one piece has all the firing pins on it where the hammer goes and hits where it would hit the cap, but then it locks into the back of the actual cylinder where the cartridges are going. If anybody's ever seen that, I know Clover knows what I'm talking about. Everyone else is giving me like looks of I'm confused.
I have y'all lost me 15 minutes ago. I got no fucking clue what y'all are talking about.
Hey, you wanted this topic.
No. I'm interested. I'm listening. No, this is fascinating. But I have like no idea what y'all are talking about.
Well, I wanted to make it interesting. Like we can sit here and talk about I'm get an AR.
That's why I'm not saying anything. I'm sitting back and listening because I have no idea what y'all are talking about. In my mind, with my limited knowledge and experience with revolvers, I'm in my mind trying to see this, and it doesn't make sense to me because I don't know what you're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
No, I'm enjoying. I
agree.
I'm having a difficult time picturing all this in my head because I don't know what it all means.
I agree with John that I think it would need to be. I think now that he's affected my design here, so I'm gonna have to give him design credit when I come up with this. Because I think you're right. I think it would have to be almost like a split cylinder type thing.
So this is going to be called the ginger leprechaun instead of just the leprechaun? The Taurus ginger leprechaun.
And
most leprechauns are gingers, though. Let's just be honest. So
this is true.
It would also have to probably be built on an X frame to hold which is the raging.
Okay, so explain.
Well, you would want to go. You would want to go with the biggest frame, the frame according to the cartridge that was the biggest cartridge you were going to use. That's obvious.
So if it was 454 Casull, you'd have to go with.
But you could also lighten that because think about if you have the Raging Hunter, and everybody has seen that. It's a honking huge handgun frame.
It's actually a pretty cool gun.
But it is cool. But think about now I want to go like 357, let's say, right? Well, you could have lighter weight barrels, smaller grip frame. There's some modularity there that could come into play that could get the overall weight and size of it down for that as well.
I mean, it's still going to be but if you go too light, that 454, no one's going to shoot 454 Casull out of it. It's going to kick
No. If you go to, that would be going, I'm talking
about. He's saying if you converted
you're losing the weight.
You would lose the weight because you don't need the weight with the 357.
Yeah, you're losing weight when you go down with the different modular barrels and other things.
Yeah.
You would make them out of different materials, make them smaller, whatever.
Yeah.
Because you don't need them for the 454. You're not going to be using the 3-7 barrel on a 454 Casull, obviously.
And you're not going to be using the 454 barrel with a 357 cartridge. I mean,
right.
Now, are you thinking is it going to be top fire or bottom fire? Like the Chiappa?
Oh, snap. You know what? If I've got my wishes,
kill me now.
Man, let's go bottom, right? Why not?
Clover likes the bottom feed. Okay, we got it.
I like being on bottom. It's less work, man.
Yeah, you're such a lazy motherfucker.
I like the idea. I like the idea of bottom, though. I like that.
Or would you make it a bullpup?
I was gonna go.
He wouldn't do a bullpup.
So I was gonna go down that road, honestly, because I was just kind of talking out my butt when he's like, "Build, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Revolver," just because I wanted to make it interesting. And that was like the
now
thought
he's serious.
That was the thought that was in the back of my head. But then by the time it actually got around to me, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, we just need to get way off into the weeds on from the ground up, like something that I'm sure other people have talked about, but probably never gone into this depth because it'd take millions and millions of dollars to do. And they said, screw it. But that bullpup, that got out of my head pretty quick because even the concept of that requires a lot of work to even remotely potentially get right. That was a horrible, horrible concept.
That's what we mean by split cylinder.
All right, so I want to share this real quick.
Thank you, G-Webs, for sending that over in the chat.
So explain this then.
Okay, so at the bottom those are all individual firing pins.
Right. Yeah.
So the way this works is see the pin at the top, and I'm trying to think of
I'm
a
assuming that
word.
hole's going to fit with that pin, correct?
There's a hole in that split cylinder.
It's an indexing. It's an indexing pin.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yes.
And you just put that on. So when you have like a black powder revolver and you want to convert it over to cartridges, this is how you do it.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
So it'd be the same concept, except it'd be bigger to match.
It would not only would it be bigger, but I would want it to be. See, the way this is, you have to. It's not going to be swing out. You got to realize this is for single action, and so I would want a swing out design.
Whoops.
Something where, something where the firing pin portion. Trying to think what I'm saying.
Ooh. Sorry, Clover.
Yeah, I don't know what.
You went the Merlin Hubert route and you pull it forward, it springs forward, ejects everything, and then you can put it back in and it springs back. So that way you don't have to do a flip out cylinder.
Oh, snap.
You know what revolver I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you pull Merlin Hubert, was Hopkins and Allen that made their stuff. They were like the top three with like Smith & Wesson and Colt back in the day, but their name kind of gets pushed in with all the Hopkins and Allen and all the other cheap revolvers during the 1800s. But literally you pulled the barrel forward and eject all the cartridges. You put more cartridges in, let go, and it sprung back and locked everything in place.
Yeah, but that's here's the problem with that, and it's not that it can't be overcome somehow, especially with modern technology and metallurgy and other things. The problem with that is that's very similar to a break action or some type of a top strapless type revolver that doesn't have a top strap, and you're losing frame integrity that way. So that's not going to work. You realize most of those old ones like that were smaller cartridge, right? Definitely not 454, 460. So, if you wanted to get truly large bore with it, there had to be some thought around that to try to make sure that it was as sturdy as possible.
You could make it out of scandium.
I mean, I totally think it could be done. Well, that's why we're having this conversation. I think all is given the right equipment and knowledge. Our biggest problem, the equipment is out there. Our biggest problem is the knowledge, right? We're not engineers, so
we killed Ghost.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
No.
Somebody say AR real quick. Hurry.
AR.
Yeah, right. Huh? Hey, so let me ask you this. Just throwing this out there. Could you theoretically design a cylinder that rotates in such a way that you could have like a double-barreled revolver, essentially?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. The little 22
kind of cool
Thunderstruck piece of junk does it.
It's been done.
Yeah, but it's been done I've seen stuff from a long time ago, but I don't know if it was like a working model or.
But think about this with my design. Not only could you have a double barrel revolver, and you could do it over. Well, you couldn't do it over and under.
Could you do multiple calibers?
You could do it over and under style. Wow! Now that I think
you're
about it,
basically turning it into a Derringer that rotates.
But if you did side by side, either way, you could do multiple different cartridges with each barrel.
Yeah, you could have your 454 on one, 357 on the other.
Yep.
But wouldn't you run into? Would it fire one cartridge at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So, you saying there's no modern double barrel revolver? The Thunderstruck 333 is not a modern double barrel revolver?
No, he said there is a modern double
There
barrel
is a
revolver.
modern.
Oh, okay. I thought he said it was.
Once again, that was my ignorance because I don't know. But I'm just thinking,
That's
like,
the only one.
if I'm going to do this, like, why not go all the way and have a double barrel, because you were talking about multi-caliber. I'm like, why wouldn't you just do a double barrel with multi-caliber and figure out a way to rotate that? You might only have, let's say, 3 of each cartridge, because it'd be 6 shots or something like that. But why wouldn't you want to do that if you could do a multi-caliber, double barrel revolver?
The way to do it, because the multi-caliber double barrel revolver it's just barrels that rotate, right? Is that what we're saying? They flip.
I don't know how you either you had to do that, or you just get a cylinder that would just rotate in a way that it. Yeah.
Imagine having 2 cartridges side by side. So when it locks up, you've got 2 cartridges side by side rather than just one at the 12 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
It locks, and you've got one at 11 and one at 1, and your barrels are in alignment side by side with that. That's how the modern works.
Or what if you did the over under and you would have 3 of the same caliber on top, 3 of the same caliber on the bottom, and it rotates, it just moves to the next, the upper and lower barrel.
So it shoots 12 and 6 every time.
That's what I'm saying. That could be interesting.
See, we got Ghost in the design conversation.
Fuck, I'm talking revolvers.
There we go. Now we're talking.
But I mean, like an over-under double barrel revolver, multi-caliber. I'm in on that. I'm down with that.
Couldn't you just make it a modern pepper box at that point, or just swap the cylinder out and just make it a pepper box with modern metallurgies? It should be fine. And rifle the barrels instead of smooth them.
I don't
Clove,
know.
you're muted. I guess I offended him. He muted himself.
I think he just had a stroke of all the ideas that he could, like, oh my God.
I did. I'm thinking about this whole pepper box idea. That would essentially be the cylinders are just extended into the barrels at that point.
Yeah, the cylinders are the barrel, so you don't have to swap anything but the cylinder.
Right. You would have the frame, and then you just lock the cylinder in and go.
Yeah. And you could come up with some way to do a quick detach or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Because that would resolve all the barrel swap issues and everything like that. You just put on a new cylinder and be a new everything.
Would you have to change anything else, or
no? You could keep the same firing pin.
Hammers are going to be the same and everything like that.
You could change hammers, but it should all be the same firing.
It should all work.
Should all
as long as you're using center, as long as you're using center fired and all that.
Yeah. We're talking center fire in this case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing rim fire is a whole other ball.
So Adam, you just missed. So where this thing started to where we're talking like our ultimate gun builds, and Clover went on with this modular revolver, and it's actually turned into something pretty badass. So where have we ended up? Like, where has this build ended up now, Clove? So maybe catch Adam up here real quick.
So it went originally from like a near 100% modular as far as cartridge, barrel length, grip, sighting system, revolver. It's ended up now to more of a pepper box style design.
Over under multi-caliber.
Yeah, like an over under pepper box. And then we've got then we've still got to deal with the issue. I mean, I guess you could have a side gate type situation on it.
You could either double action. You could side gate it, or you could swing out cylinder it. If you can figure out how to swing out cylinder it, if it's got like a rocker somewhere.
Right. But then you would have Then you would need your accessories and your sighting systems and all that. But I think that can still all come after the fact. I don't
I
see
mean,
an issue to have
you
add
could
those to it.
build a frame that has the Picatinny and sights on top with an extended arm or crane all the way to the front of the pepper box and make it push out cylinder. I mean, you'd have to
Correct.
worry about the crane breaking, but it would work.
Right. Right.
I got nothing. I brought the over-under multi-caliber rotating cylinder to the game. That's all I got. RTAC says ejects out of the bottom. I don't know if that would work or not. What do you guys think about that idea?
Ejects
I
what
mean,
out of the bottom?
He just says ejects out of the bottom.
There was a revolver that was mag-fed that was designed. Mag-fed revolver sounds weird, but there was one that was designed.
Mag-fed revolver doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
It's a thing, but it would feed
How
in.
can it be a revolver if it's mag-fed? Like literally.
No, literally.
Revolver is. I mean,
so as it rotated, it would take one off the magazine. It was three like semi-cut sections that made the chamber. And as you fired, it would pull it like it was enclosed. Okay. As you would fire, it would push the double action, would push the next cartridge out. It would rotate out, and then the fired cartridge would come down and eject out the side. It would just kind of fall out, and it would just do that. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it was a thing at one point.
Okay. Adam says kind of like a Taurus Tracker multi-cal.
Yeah, we're going more Raging Hunter, I think, but yeah.
Interesting. Artec says the case would eject out of the bottom. Like one individual, or are you talking about when you switch out speed loading cylinders, whatever? I don't understand what he says, the case. I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about it though.
I just put the mag-fed revolver in the pack chat.
Okay, let me just look at this on bitch real quick. Well, that's the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was a thing.
Obviously, it didn't last too long, right?
I think there was prototypes. It was like a 2-round cylinder. It would rotate and eject.
Interesting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would give you twice your cylinder capacity without having to break anything down, you know.
I wonder, could they utilize? I'm just throwing this out there. Once again, we're talking like if you have the money, you have the engineering capabilities and the tooling. Instead of doing like a mag-fed revolver, could you figure out a way to get the same thing to where it's not so weird having a magazine attached revolver, but somehow if you use like a pistol grip for the revolver and utilizing the inside of the pistol grip to have like a magazine through the little pistol grip, turn that into a mag well, and then do the same kind of thing where it's bringing that cartridge back forward into the cylinder. I don't know. Is that even something that even would be worthwhile even looking at, or no?
I mean, it would be interesting.
Exactly, Clover. I'm just thinking like, you know, having a pistol grip on a revolver could be like a 1911 grip, let's say, right? Having a 1911 grip that has a magazine in it of, let's just say, 357 Magnum, right? And when you have the revolver, and let's see, maybe you had to go double action with that. I don't know, but you guys are the smart ones. You'll figure that shit out. But you shoot that, and the revolver goes, and as that thing ejects, it's basically just like a normal semi-auto. Somehow that cylinder picks up the next round out of the magazine of the pistol grip, like a 1911 or whatever, any semi-auto, but picks up and recharges the cylinder.
All right,
I mean,
I don't know.
So we get away a little bit in this scenario, I think, from whole modular multi-caliber. But if we're going to go down this road of a magazine-fed revolver, so your magazine is your magazine is loaded. It's or your cylinder's loaded. Let's say you have 6 rounds. You have one obviously at 12 and 12 o'clock on a round, right? You got 6 rounds. So whatever that would be, 12, 2, whatever. You get my point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you've got your one at the top, it'd be 12. So when you fire that, the cylinder rotates. That one now is, let's say, the one
2.
We're going to say, 2, 1, 2, whatever, 130.
Yeah.
At that point, there is an extractor. It's almost like a open loading gate on that side, right? At that point, there's an extractor now. As you fire the second round, or as soon as that clicks into place, it's spring loaded. As soon as that locks up in the 1-ish 2 position, there's an extractor that kicks that empty cartridge out, right? The cylinder, you fire another round, the cylinder comes around, it also kicks that one out, right? The second round you fired now, but you've got an open spot now in the 4 position, whatever.
Yeah.
Correct?
So when it gets down to the 6 is when it actually reloads it.
At the 4 position, now it's empty. You do it again. When it goes to 6, it feeds another one from the mag.
Absolutely.
It continues the process.
Absolutely.
My issue with that is if you've got, what is it, the Conan, the 357 1911? Kunin, those things are bulky.
It's going to be a little
looking at a bulky grip.
I think it's going to be a little bigger grip than like a 2011 for sure. It's going to be I think you could probably get it done depending on the cartridge you use. You could probably do it less bulky than a Deagle, but it's going to be, I think you're right. I think it would be bulky.
And then where you would grip, be weird.
But that could be, man, think about this concept though in a 22, in a 10-shot cylinder 22 with a 10-round magazine, which we all know is entirely plausible and easy to do.
20-round capacity with that.
You've got a 20-round capacity 22 revolver.
What would keep it from locking up?
What do you mean?
Because if there's a round in the chamber, right? You've got 10 rounds in the cylinder, and then a mag feeding in. What's keeping that from locking up? Because the nose of the projectile is going to be hitting up against the rim of the cartridge from the magazine until it rotates all the way around and ejects one, and one can go.
It would have to have almost like a picture of cylinder stop, how that cylinder stop moves up and down and locks the cylinder. But now move that in front of the nose of the cartridge.
But you'd have to manually switch that over, wouldn't you?
There could be it could be geared up and keyed into the proper timing of the cylinder rotation.
Sure.
So all you would have to have is some type of a spring setup that would have to drop that stop, right, to do what you're saying, to keep it from locking up, and at the same time push that other round in. So maybe Chris is, I think, ready to talk about his stuff.
Yeah, I think it's time for Chris to talk. I think we went too much into this.
We could go deeper into the weeds, but I'd rather not. So, we can always come back.
We've already talked about like 3 different designs, or 4 or 6 or something at this point. So,
yeah. So tell us about your boring 1022 now, Chris.
Yeah, it's definitely
you get to follow that shit. How about that?
hey, he hasn't elaborated. He may be going to make it a break action revolver or something. We don't know.
No, I wasn't doing anything.
Break action revolver 1022.
No, what got
mine's really fucking boring when it gets to me. So.
No, basically what got my wheels turning was when we were at GunCon, Tandem Cross had their new Manicore X there. and you can either buy the whole lower receiver or you can just get the trigger pack. Then there's one of the companies I'm working with, they have their own version of a 1022 out now. They're going to send one to the channel. So now I got my base to start with.
So is it going to take aftermarket stuff that fit the Ruger stuff, or is it proprietary stuff?
So at first I thought I kind of wanted to go with the whole Manicore setup because, but it's more for like steel challenge. It's not really for distance shooting or anything.
Yeah.
But I basically, what I want to do is take this gun and I'll have the upper and lower receiver that I need. Then I can figure out what stock I want to go with or a chassis or whatever.
Now, would you go 22 mag or what would you go with?
No, I'm just going 22 LR.
22 LR? Okay. I figured maybe because you're talking about maybe going a little bit longer distance, maybe the mag would be a better option. I don't even know if they offer it in a mag. And now I'm giving
what
brain
I'd be
freeze.
wanting to do. No, I've watched so many of these guys that rebarrel these guns and stuff where they're putting all five, a 5-shot group, they're all going right through the same hole. And I always thought it'd be cool to have a 1022 that could do that. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. So I've got my trigger pack figured out.
Yeah.
And I'll have my upper and lower receiver. But I don't know.
Now you're talking about furniture, optics, and all that. What would you kind of go with?
I haven't done enough research on barrels yet, so I can't really tell you what barrel I would go with.
Clover probably.
Optics on that, I mean, it's going to be, I'm never going to shoot it past 100 yards. It'll be a 50-yard gun and 100 yards. So I'm probably going to go with maybe a 4-12 or a 4-16, something like that with that. Maybe even a 3 to something else. But
yeah, 16.
Not going to go LPVO on that.
16 would give you really good spotting with it too, if you need it.
Yeah,
because you're going to have a really small hole at 100 yards to try to see. So,
But that trigger, I love that trigger pack. When I felt that trigger at GunCon, I'm like, okay, I want to build something around that trigger pack. That thing's amazing. So,
Chris,
now what fit into that lower receiver, or do you have to? Is it a new lower receiver to fit that? Is it the whole assembly, or is it seriously just changing out the trigger pack?
The trigger pack will fit in any Ruger 1020.
So it's kind of like a drop in almost, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it comes with their. You're not going to have that cross bolt safety. You're going to have a flip switch on it. You're going to have the big extended mag release in the front.
Okay.
It's pretty cool how it's built.
It's interesting.
Expensive. The
Ginger,
trigger pack costs as much as the gun.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to warn Chris. We used to have, when I worked at the range in Columbus, there was this old guy who would come in with his 1022 and a fixed 20 power scope. At 25 yards, he set up
fixed 20 power.
Yeah, it was a fixed 20 power scope.
Okay.
And he'd set up these little, like the targets were as big as a 22 bullet. He set up like 100 of them. And he'd sit there on a bench rest and shoot 100 rounds into each one of those little things. And then he'd come out and be like, okay, this ammo is off by this much. And that's all he did. He was there twice a week just doing that for 3 hours. Don't turn into that guy, Chris. Or do, because I don't know if that guy's even still alive. He was like 75 years old when I met him.
Well, he had a cheap day at the range.
Yeah. 3 hours and it costs you about $1. You know what I'm saying? Not bad. Yeah.
I'm surprised at that distance. What did you say? 20 yards? Oh, you said he was on a bench, though, right?
He was bench
on a bench at 100 yards with a fixed 20 power. Yeah.
No, 25 indoor range, 75 foot.
That's what I thought you said. Yeah.
I think you said he had 100 of those things at 100 yards.
No, he had 100 of them at 25 yards. It was a 75 foot range.
In a fixed 20 power scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that if you tried to use a fixed 20 power in in anything other than bench rest, I mean, you're screwed.
Especially
You're
at 25
so
yards.
screwed. Well, that's what I'm saying because the movement, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
your
you're never
pulse
gonna.
and
Yeah,
breathing and everything else, that 20 power is going to exaggerate that so much. There's no way you're going to be able to shoot accurately
yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
Now on a
it's so
bench,
much magnet.
is a much different story. You're not going to have that movement. But yeah,
That is insane magnification at 25 yards.
Oh my
uh,
God.
yeah, yeah. I've got a fixed. I've got a fixed 20 on my 50, and anything under about, I would say probably under about 200. It's
Mhm.
very hard to get the focus. I mean, you're shooting at blurry stuff. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just no way. There's no way to focus it that close.
Yeah.
Well, I've got that 10 to 40 on my 6.5 Creedmoor. You
Yeah.
can't shoot anything under 100 yards with that. I mean, with that 10 power, it's like the 100 yards target's sitting like right there.
Yeah.
You don't even use the magnification at all. It's nice to have that when you're going out to 1,000. But
Yes, it is. What's this? Okay. Yeah, it's just yeah, a 20 power at 25 yards. Yeah, okay. For me, mine's gonna sound really boring compared to everybody else's, but I'm a boring guy. What I want to do, and I love my AR-10, my 308. It's an Anderson, and I love that thing. It's the Ranger, love it. But I think what I want to do with it is they have a 12.5-inch barrel, and I think I want to run the 308 through a 12.5-inch barrel, and I think it'd be really good. You could use it for pretty much everything. The percussion, yes, it's going to be loud inside if you run it CQB, but I could suppress it and it would be better. But having that 12.5-inch barrel with a 308, you can still run CQB with that. You can run it out with 12.5-inch barrel. I think effectively you could probably get out to 400 to 500 yards. And still not lose a ton of the ballistics. 400, maybe, I wouldn't say 5, but let's say 400 without starting really bad bullet drop. I had to look at the ballistics, but I would be willing to bet you can probably get 400 easy. But here's the thing. People say, well, why the hell do you use a 308 if you're only going 400 yards? Well, here's the thing. Let's be honest, guys. If I'm having to engage someone at my house or whatever that's over 300 yards, I'm probably not engaging them. Let's just be honest. In a Red Dawn scenario, so this is going to sound weird, and some of you will know what I'm talking about when I say this. Do I have experience in long distance shooting and all of that stuff? Could I run a sniper hide in that Red Dawn scenario? Absolutely. I've got the rifles to do it. Not a problem. Easy. That's not my thing. My training and my background and I'm not going to call it expertise, but what I'm good at is up close and personal. Inside 100 yards is what I'm looking at. If I can get an enemy inside 100 yards, I'll own them. So I don't need to go out and reach out something at 300-400 yards. If it's 300-400 yards, I'm not engaging. I'll either go to them to get closer, or I will try to get them to come to me. And so I think a 12.5-inch 308 might be the perfect. Nobody say, why would you just go through a blackout? I love the ballistics of a 308 Winchester. Now, if you're talking about a 12.5-inch or 10.5-inch, you would say, well, the 300 blackout probably the best one. Yeah, but still, even out of a 12.5-inch barrel, the ballistics of that 308 is going to be really pretty good out to about 300-400 yards. So I would still stay 300 win, a 308 win, and go a 12.5-inch. And I'd probably go with like if I could do like a quad rail handguard, that way I could run maybe a 10 or 10.5-inch quad rail. So I could run different things that I want to run. I would probably run, honestly, like a 1-6 or maybe like a 1-8, probably a 1-8 LPVO on it. In case I did want to engage at 300 yards, I think a 1-8 would be perfectly powerful enough to do that. But I would still be able to run that at 1X for anything else I wanted to run. I might even go with, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I might even go with either a 45-degree like RMR dot, or I might go 45-degree irons on it. I don't know. Probably would go like an RMR, but I think a 12.5-inch 308 would be a badass setup. Go ahead, John.
Okay. So we're looking at, I'm assuming it's a 1-10 twist, right?
1-10, yeah.
So that's one full. Are you worried about bullet stabilization?
No.
What?
No, I think in a 12.5-inch, if I was running a 10 or 10.5-inch barrel, I'd probably worry about that. A 12.5-inch barrel is going to give me enough. I think it's going to be stable. I do believe that a 14 might be the perfect length, but for weight and the CQB, I think I'd go 12.5. Now, if you're talking about perfection, I think the 14 probably is the perfection. But I think you're adding a little bit more length, you're adding a little bit more weight, and if you run a suppressor on that, I know it sounds weird, it's only 1.5 or 2 inches, but that's going to help a little bit on using a 12.5 instead of 14.5 for the suppressor for me for overall length and all that. I'm not worried about the stability because I know there's a lot of 12.5-inch barrels out there for the 308 that have got it all figured out, and I don't see there being a problem whatsoever. It also depends on kind of what grain I'm using also, I think.
So here's my next caveat. I know you mentioned 300 blackout. What about?
Yeah, I mean, and I said a lot of people would probably say would go, and honestly, it probably is smart to go 300 blackout. I like the 308 round,
Well, I'm going to question. So 308, love the idea. Why not 8.6? Why not?
I don't have any experience with the 8.6 yet, so I'm only going with something that I know.
Okay, I'm just saying, would you
maybe the 8.6 might be great down the line. I don't have any experience with the 8.6, so I don't know what the ballistics of it is. I don't know would it be optimal at a 10.5 to 12.5-inch barrel. And it very well could be. I don't know.
So,
well, that's where it shines, is in the shorter barrels. But the problem is you're talking $4 a round.
There's another thing.
True. But I'm thinking, like, again, we mentioned money's not an issue. That's why.
Yeah. This is where the fun stuff is. This is where the fun stuff is.
So, like, 8.6 blackout is optimal in that, like, 12.5 inch to 10.5 inch. It's a 1-3 or to 1-1 twist. So it's spinning pretty fast.
Yeah.
I've shot it out of a 8.5-inch bolt gun. I will tell you this, that full power load suppressed, fantastic, great. Like, they hit hard. Like, it's a little bit more power than a 308. The thing that made me laugh is how intense the drop off is. Like, I've shot 308 like subsonic and full loads through a suppressed bolt gun, and the drop off wasn't that. It's a decent amount, but it's not that noticeable. Like the 8.6 blackout, when you go subsonic, it is a big drop.
Yeah,
really, really big drop. But I'm just asking because 8.6 blackout seems I feel like that would better fit than the 308, but that's just personal.
Yeah, and it very well could. Like I said, I have no experience with the 8.6 yet. And so I'm not going to build on something that I have little to no experience with. That said, that could definitely be something. But I know that there are, like, Ballistic Advantage has a really good 12.5-inch 308 barrel. I'm pretty sure that's a 1 in 10. I know Anderson's 12.5 inches is 1 in 10. I'm pretty sure Ballistic Advantages is a 1 in 10, and they've got it pretty stable. Once again, you're not asking to go take that 308 and pushing it 600, 800, 1,000 yards like you would in a 16, 18, or 20-inch barrel. I would only be asking it to really go to about 300. Honestly, I'm probably looking at about 200. In the way how I would utilize that rifle setup. It's going to be one. I don't know if you've never run CQB, the 308. It's pretty badass. I'm not going to lie. Yes, the percussion is going to be very loud. It's going to be. It is what it is. But it's pretty cool. 8.6 would be something that I would 100% look into once I get some experience with it. Everyone that I've talked to that has it, that is utilizing it, loves it. But I'm not going to build as of right now the dream ultimate build on a cartridge I haven't had an experience with. Obviously, that's what it's for. I think that. Now, let me ask you guys this: is the 8.6 for kind of hearing what I want this to be, a CQB, but also be able to reach out and touch someone at 200-300 yards? The 8.6 gives you better options than the 300 blackout. Are you saying that you would go 8.6 before you go 300 blackout?
If I want to keep with that 308 power, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So 8.6.
I want the stopping power of that 308. And I don't necessarily care about running it subsonic like a 300 black, because I may not suppress this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a huge suppressor guy. So I probably wouldn't. So there would be no reason to have the 300 blackout. Now, will the 8.6 still run without being suppressed as effectively, or is that ground created to run speeds, run suppress as well?
No, it'll run both with full power loads. My
Stable?
thing with stable. My thing
Okay.
with the 8.6 that I really like is that out of a 12.5-inch barrel, you're still, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly from what I've heard and what we were learning when I was at Faxon, is that it's still supersonic at 1,000 yards out of a 12-inch barrel. So you could reach out to 1,000
yards. Out of a 12-inch barrel?
Out of a 12-inch barrel.
Really?
So you could reach out to 1,000 yards with a 12-inch barrel. Because
I know with 308 12-inch barrel, I know that bullet drop starts dramatically falling off after 500-600 yards at probably the 308 a 12.5-inch barrel. Now, that said, if I could still run 1,000 yards, or let's see 750, 800 effectively at 800 with the 8.6.
Yeah.
I need to look into 8.6. Now, will 8.6 will that upper fit right onto an AR-10 load?
It's AR-10.
It's an AR-10. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
I've never shot it. So
the thing with 8.6 is you're looking at a 1-3 or 1-1 twist rate. So that projectile
instead of a 1-10, so it's spinning fast.
It's spinning fast. So you still have a small CQB package with the ability to reach out if you need to.
Okay, so 8.6 blackout barrel. Let's see what's.
I haven't shot it past 100 yards, but it rocks.
It's screaming at 100 yards. So, John, I'm not going to try to put you on a spot because they obviously didn't have them when you were there, but they're talking out there about the Faxon 8.6 barrels. Obviously, when you were at Faxon, did they have them? They were in development?
We were in development and had them by the time I left. I never got to shoot the Faxon.
What do you think? Okay.
I got to shoot the bolt. I helped my former employer build a 8.6 bolt gun on a 700 chassis.
Okay. Now, Ballistic Advantage has. They do have a 12.5-inch. They've got a 14.5. I'll go 12.5. I think a 1-3 twist. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you this: Kevin Birmingham took out a Cape Buffalo at 100 yards with an 8-inch 8.6 blackout bolt gun, and it dropped Like it didn't run, it dropped.
So Chris, just real quick, that you've run yours. I have 0 to this point experience with 8.6. Recoil wise, all of that 8.6 in comparison to a 308, is it comparable? Is it about the same, or what?
Your recoils, to me, it's like shooting 6.5 Creedmoor. Because you're basically taking a 6.5 Creedmoor case,
yeah,
and you're opening it up to take a 338 bullet.
Okay.
So, really, in all honesty, it's probably less recoil, to be honest with you. Okay. Now, when I only shot it at SHOT Show.
I was just wondering, because when it's coming out with that kind of speed, I wasn't sure how it was going to affect, muzzle rise or the recoil or anything like that.
You're going to be limited on powder because you're shoving this monstrous bullet down into your case. Basically, you're pushing it into a 6.5 case.
So
because I think Eagle, if I remember right, Eagle Run's channel. If you want to know anything and everything about 8.6 Blackout, Eagle Run was the first YouTuber to just go crazy with it. He's got video after video, and he was actually making 8.6 brass out of 6.5.
Do you have stuff to reload 8.6 with?
No,
you're not reloading it yet.
No, I don't even have one. But I've been thinking about getting one just to try it out, because Bear Creek actually has an 8.6 upper out now, so you could get that thing dirt cheap. Just start playing around with it.
Hold on here, really?
Yeah.
And
Eagle Run just got one, and he's having great results with it. But it's Bear Creek, so
but here's the thing: that could be fun to. Hold on here. I mean, Bear Creek, they've got a 16-inch. They've only got 16-inch.
The thing with the 8.6 Blackout is that you're not relying as much on the powder as you are on the twist rate, because that thing is spinning.
Well, that's why they're doing a twist rate there, because they're not going to be able to load it with the amount of power. They've got to generate that speed somehow. So that makes sense as to why it's a really short spin rate.
Yeah, because it's like if you take 300 Blackout, for instance, because I reload that and I reload 223, so you're using a 223 case to make 300 Blackout, but you can average about 27 grains on a hot 223 reload of powder.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to cut that pretty much in half when you start shoving
the larger
a 30 cal bullet into that case.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's the same principle with the 8.6. So you're going to have limited space for the grain, for the powder. Interesting. I might have to.
It's a super cool round, but the only way I would do it is if I had the dies and everything to reload it, because I'm not spending that kind of money per round.
Fort Scott took up ammo production of it now. I think it's down to like $250 a round, which is still expensive.
Yeah, that's what Fluffy said. He just got some. But it is an awesome round. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about it other than the cost.
Because the 8.6 was never even on my radar for this build, because once again, I hadn't shot it, so I wouldn't even think about it. And I definitely would have went the 308 over a 300 Blackout in this specific build. But the 8.6, I might just have to go and.
Because you're talking about the punch of it almost like a 338.
Yeah.
But also you're going to get the distance that you're not going to get with the 308 in that barrel size, which is it.
Well, once again, it's not that I would want to go out to 750, 800 yards effectively with this build, but if I knew that I could, that could be interesting.
That's what I mean. It's not like it's a necessity, but it's also something that you could, like, you're getting the most performance out of that.
Mm-hmm.
out of that gun all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. This is what this is all about, because we're getting ideas, and that's why I wanted to hear you guys' ideas. I'd still go the 1 and 8 though. LPVO on that, I think.
Not 1 in 10.
No, I wouldn't run it at 10 power. Unless I was going to go way out. Once again, this is for me. This is going to be something that, for the most part, would be like a 250, 300 yard and in gun. Honestly, if I could, like I said, my wheelhouse is inside 100. My wheelhouse is really up close. But that's what I love about this build idea. Is you're getting the stopping power of that 300 or that 30 caliber that you could run CQB with, or you could reach out and touch someone. So I wouldn't necessarily, want to go very far with it. Just because I can doesn't mean that I would. Once again, in a real world, a non-competition side, when would I ever want to shoot something at 1,000 yards? And that's just me. I'm not saying that people don't, but in a real world situation, I'm going to let them get closer. I want to draw them in, get them to that 100 to 300 yard range, and then I'll own them. That's just me, I want to give them into that. I'd honestly give them like about 100 yard, 200 yards at the most, probably. But that's where I'd want to draw Red Dawn in and get them to that point. Boom, boom, boom. I wouldn't reach out to 1,000 yards. Even if I could, I probably wouldn't. So I think a 1 and 8, maybe a 1 and 10. It really doesn't matter between 1 and 8, 1 and 10, because I don't have to run at the 10 power. But for some reason, 1 and 6s and 1 to 8s always, I don't know why, but they look better to me. They run better for me. So I think that 1 to 8 is probably where I would go with an LPVO, and I'd probably run it on 3 power most of the time anyways, right? So that's what it is. What's that?
No, I said I'm agreeing with you. I just don't want to know what an 8.6 at close range it would do.
Can you imagine 8.6 at 100 yards or 8.6 in a CQB?
8.6 and 8 CQB, but I mean, if it took down a Cape Buffalo in one shot and dropped it at 100, I don't want to know what it does.
Well, I can tell you what it's going to do. It's going to go right through them very quickly. So, I mean, it'll take care of the threat, but I don't see it expanding or anything. I think it's just going to be a through and through very, very quickly. It'll drop them, but I think that's about as all it's going to do. I don't see it. Now, what you have to worry about the 8.6 100% is over penetration, because it is moving. So you're definitely going to be cognitive of where you are if you're going to run 8.6 in a CQB situation, because that thing's going to be screaming fast and it's going to penetrate a lot of things. Bad guys wearing jackets made of tannerite. There you go. But yeah, 8.6 in a CQB.
Oh God!
I don't think it's. I don't think it would be a dramatic thing. I think it'd just be a very fast through and through, because that thing's gonna be screaming.
It puts out 1,500 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle.
Yeah. No, it's going to throw that person back. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that you're going to see huge wounds. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it. It's not going to stop. It's not going to expand to where it's going to stop that projectile in CQB. It's going to go through and through. I just don't think it's going to be as dramatic because it's going so damn fast. It's going to kill them. It's going to drop them, but I don't think you're going to see a huge expansion.
May depend on the projectile.
Well, 100%. But if you're just talking like, a non-defensive projectile. Let's just say.
Also,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's just you're going to say probably what I'm going to say. So go ahead, finish, and then
what I was saying is I'm probably not going to run a defensive load in that 8.6 unless I know that maybe have a magazine with defensive like hollow points or whatever, or rips or something, to run in that specifically for a CQB. Chances are I'm just going to run multiple magazines with just regular full metal jacket or whatever ammo, and in a CQB with, let's just say, that FMJ, it's going to be going so damn fast. It's going to drop and end that threat. I just don't see there's going to be a dramatic destruction. I think it's just going to go through and through so fast that person's going to hit the ground and it's over with.
Well, there's
I might be wrong. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. What I was going to point out is there's a difference between. A lot of people say, okay, they want it to hit, expand, and have this big wound cavity.
I don't give a damn about the cavity. I just want to end the threat.
Well, there's another way of thinking with all this too, and expansion does play a role. I'm not going to say it doesn't.
Okay,
but you've got all of that velocity, right?
Yeah.
Well, velocity is transferred through the surface area of the projectile to the surrounding area as energy, right?
Correct.
So even if something is hit with an FMJ across the surface area of that FMJ, there's going to be a pretty good energy dump depending on that velocity, right? So people talk about the burn through and through. It's like, yeah, but you're still going to get a certain amount.
No, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying it's not going to get this dramatic cavity. Right. I don't think it point blank CQB distance.
It's what I'm getting at is it's a double-edged sword in a way, because if you've got a projectile that will expand. Well, what's going to happen when it expands? Two things. Number one, it's going to slow a little bit, which is more energy over time dumped into the target. Correct.
And also, it will help with over-penetration at that point.
This is true. But what I was going to say is talking about energy transfer. More energy over time because it slows down, because it's opened up, it's deformed, it's slowed down. Right. But also more energy because it has increased, because it's deformed, because it's opened up, it's increased the surface area of that projectile. So more energy is able to be transferred because you have more surface area. So there's multiple reasons to use something that's going to have some bit of deformation or
and I'm saying and I never said that I wouldn't. I'm just saying that chances are in a Red Dawn I'm not going to be worried about which ones.
Who cares? I agree.
But what we were talking about before you came back in was the problem, and see, I started with 308 and they asked me about 8.6 and I said, well, I don't have any experience with 8.6. But the more and more I'm hearing and learning about it, it sounds like that could be the perfect caliber for a 12.5-inch AR-10 to do a lot of stuff that I want to do. That said, when you're talking about something that's going to have that much velocity and energy as the 8.6 would, we were talking, this whole thing started is over penetration is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That thing's going to burn through a lot of whatever's back there, unless it's very thick concrete walls, it's moving. That said, in a Red Dawn scenario, I really don't give a shit, It's
also going to burn through a lot of what's in front of you too, though. You got to think
this
about
is
that,
true. Absolutely.
Right? Whereas if, depending on clothing, depending on any type of partial barrier situation, anything like that, an FMJ is going to be optimal to get through that and to the target. Whereas something that was frangible, easy to deform, would it still go through? Yeah, I mean, you can still get through a windshield or the seat back or something like that, probably with a hollow point, and still get something into a target. But with an FMJ, you're far more likely.
You're definitely going to be able to do that.
Yeah, not just to get it on target, but get it on target where you intend.
Yeah.
Right, or where you're anticipating, I should say, because anytime you shoot through barriers or something, you kind of got to anticipate, depending on your angles and other things. You got to account for some of that. Like snipers that shoot through windshield or through windows and windshields, their hold is typically not dead on.
Oh no. Well, if you've never shot through a windshield, the ballistics of shooting out of a windshield or into a windshield, it's crazy. It's crazy. People that don't have any experience with that would never know. I suggest, honestly, that'd be kind of a cool thing. If you've never had any training, if you're a training guy, you like taking training classes and all that, and it's something that you want to do something that's different, go take a class if you can find one that's shooting into or out of automobiles, whether it's getting cover, because most people, I promise you, if you think taking cover behind a door is smart, that's the absolute worst place to take cover in a car, is behind a door. There's nothing there. It just goes right through that aluminum.
Well, and it instantly turns hollow points into FMJs anyway.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, but also learning the differences in shooting into a car through a windshield and out of a car through a windshield. Now, shooting out of windows isn't a big deal because usually that's cheap glass and it's flat. But you're talking about the concave or convex, depending on if you're going in or out of a windshield, how it does change trajectories and ballistics.
Yeah.
It's fun. So if you ever get a chance, and if you're one of those people that say, I've taken all the classes and you're looking for a cool class, go find a vehicle class. I think you guys would really have fun with it.
Well, it's really cheap, and this is something
absolutely. Cover versus concealment. Know the difference exactly. People think because it's a car door, it's cover. Hell no, it's not.
Can I give up?
And there are gaps. Ask Reagan. Well, you can't, but you could have once.
D23 is this Jack and Coke? No, this is a Coke. I don't drink. So
so I mean, if you have your own range or a range that doesn't mind or care or whatever the case may be, you can pick up like picture frames and things like that. You can get glass from like Goodwills and things like that. Usually really cheap. You can get a bundle of picture frames for like $1. Tape those together or do something and do them about the thickness of like a house window.
Yep. See the difference. A double pane window versus a triple pane or whatever. It's a lot different.
Shoot at them from different angles is what I'm talking about. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, will just about anything burn through that kind of glass? Yeah, absolutely. But you do have a point of impact shift.
Yes, you do.
And so, depending on
you have to know, and sometimes it's very subtle, but you need to know what it is.
Yeah,
you need to know how that projectile is going to react through glass.
That's gonna affect your confidence in the event that you've got to take one of those, rough
glory shots, if you will. And
I mean, of course,
I suggest it's tough to do, but I don't know if I could take the glory shot unless you've got a lot of practice and you know exactly. I mean, because that's tough, man.
Well, I mean, I've been on the range before with some of the SWAT snipers and stuff in this area, and it's crazy the stuff they shoot through.
Oh yeah.
Regularly and often, just so they are aware of what's going to happen and everything. So
absolutely, shooting through drywall. I mean,
well, it wasn't that long
everything
ago.
is going to change. What's that?
It wasn't that long ago. Remember the bank? And I forgot where that was at, but the guy had the knife to the like a bank teller's throat or something, and the guy shot the. Whatever, he rested on another officer's shoulder and shot.
Oh yeah.
And it was melon shot through a monitor. He could only like see the top of his head or something through the monitor.
Right.
So, and I'm like, oh my god! But that's knowing. Now again, he wasn't 100 yards away through a window. That was across the bank lobby, so it wasn't like he was super far away. But still
a shot though, man.
Like he couldn't see where he was aiming.
Well, more important, I mean, the balls to take that shot is crazy. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And I think that may have been another country too. So who knows what their rules of engagement and stuff are? Maybe
there's no telling. Yeah, there's no telling. This has been actually a pretty fun conversation. The whole revolver thing went to the weeds quickly, but ended up being really interesting. If you've made it 2 hours with us, God bless you. You're not getting your money back. You're sure as hell not getting your time back, but we do appreciate you. I'll go around the room real quick. Chris, let's start with you. Hope you get feeling better. Quit opening up the air pocket pads that come in the Amazon boxes. That shit is filled with COVID. What are those, bubble wrap? They're not bubble wrap, man. They're not going to make the sound. They're just going to give you COVID.
I would appreciate it if you quit blowing vape in my direction, though, please.
Yeah, he's blowing it right up your ass, Joe.
Like the whole show, he's been blowing vape on me, man. I don't appreciate that.
That's not what I heard. I heard you did appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
Just saying. What you got going on, Christopher?
I'm going to drop the EMR1 first shots video on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, really liking that rifle.
Yeah, no, it's a really good rifle. Especially at the price point, what you're getting for that price point. I think it's pretty cool. The quality of the build. I mean, it sounds bad, but like to me, that Warhammer is my favorite that I've used. I'm not saying it's the best out there. I'll never say it's the best because there's all stuff out there. But that Warhammer charging handle's pretty badass. That Break Arms. You guys haven't tried that Break Arms Warhammer. It's badass. And that trigger's pretty good. It's a little upgraded. Yeah. It's not your simple mil spec trigger. It's a pretty good trigger. So I'm really impressed with that rifle, especially for the price point. So go check out Chris's video Thursday, Faux Shizzle. When's your next show, your podcast? When's your next podcast coming out? Do you know yet?
I don't have any scheduled for a while.
Okay.
Taking a little break from that. So.
Yeah, maybe after goals or something.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of summer slump, you know.
Yeah. No, my summer slump is because I just don't have time. I work 70 plus hours a week, and I really don't have time as much as I'd like to. And it's 101 degrees. That doesn't help either, you know.
Appreciate you having me on, though.
Always, brother. Always. I hope you get feeling better. Ginger, what you got going on at GOA and FLR, man?
GOA is easy. You got goals. goals.
I've never heard of this thing. What is this
Goals, thing? The Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership Summit happening August 17th and 18th in Knoxville, Tennessee. Free to all GOA members, $25 at the door. If you're not a GOA member, check out all the cool, awesome companies that'll be at Goals. Go to gunowners.org/goals or goals.gunowners.org to find out more information. It's going to be a good time with tons of awesome speakers, panels. I heard there may be an AK guy or two there. So it's going to be a good time. And then
are you not allowed to mention his name yet?
Oh, no, I can say it. Herrera is going to be there.
Oh, okay. Well, I knew he was, but I didn't know if you were publicly allowed to.
Oh, yeah. No, it got announced. So Herrera is going to be there. Level's going to be doing a
I heard John's going to be there. I'm looking forward to not having a discussion with Herrera about a lot of stuff. I want to know what it's like to run for Congress. Like that had to have been like stressful as hell, right? Like I don't know what that was like. The whole running for Congress thing is a YouTuber, because that brings a whole different dynamic to running for Congress. You know.
Oh yeah. So Herrera is going to be there. Level is doing a breakout session on homeschooling, and he's going to do a book signing, and then those guys are okay, but Glenn Jacobs is going to be there. And if you don't know who Glenn Jacobs is, then you're not a 90s wrestling fan, because that is Kane, the mayor of Knox County.
Well, I know who Kane is, but I don't know his real name.
Well, there we go. Glenn Jacobs, Kane, the mayor of Knox County, is going to be there.
Oh, no shit. Really? He's the mayor of Knox County?
He is the mayor of Knox County.
Well, that's interesting.
And we are working. Everyone keep your fingers crossed. We're working on trying to get Undertaker to show up too.
Wouldn't that just be amazing?
The two of them together.
He's a gun guy. I know that Undertaker's a gun guy. So,
So we're working on that. It's going to be a good time. I'm super excited about it. As you can tell, I've been planning it for 6 months. So, yes, Adam, you know,
seeing Adam out there. I'm looking forward to seeing Adam out there.
Well, I don't know about that guy.
He's a lot better than you are.
Yeah, I know.
That's not saying a lot. So,
no.
I mean, you know.
And then we've got on Fully Loaded Reviews, guys, if you're in the side chat, I need 5 more subscribers to get to 600. So if
All right,
anybody
so I'm
has
gonna go.
chat,
I'm gonna go
please.
to your website, right? Or your let's see, Fully Loaded Reviews. I'm gonna put the link out there. Go ahead.
I'm going to unsub all my channels real quick to help out.
Oh, thanks.
Well, he's got like 1,100 of them, so you know. I'm gonna put the link out there to Fully Loaded Reviews. I do ask everyone go check him out and give him a quick subscribe. Actually, give it to Kurt. Kurt deserves it, not John.
Kurt deserves it. I don't deserve anything. Kurt is the comedy relief. I'm just some guy.
Especially on this new video that could be coming out soon. What Kurt does is hilarious.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see the edits. It's gonna be hilarious, and I'm gonna feel so bad when they call me, but I don't care.
Oh yeah, because you're never gonna get another gun from them ever.
Oh, I bought it. I didn't. I
understand. You're never gonna get one from them, which is fine because I mean you're not missing anything.
Well, I'm also working on. I've talked to Handsome Dave from High Point. I'm trying to get some yeet. Get a couple yeet cannons up in here. I mean, I talked to Jared the other day from SDS. I'm still waiting to hear back from him. So
Jarhead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been waiting since SHOT Show or from NRAM to hear back from him. So what it is.
Yeah,
we'll talk again at goals and see what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited about the upcoming reviews we got coming up. I've got a 6.5 PRC coming up too. Really excited about that. Got all the ammo in and the stuff ready to go.
You're sitting at 597. Come on, guys. 3 more of you. Go over there to that link and subscribe to get them to 600 subs. Come on.
I normally don't ask for subs, so this is like I feel bad, but I want to get to 600 to keep.
And
keep
when you're that close, it's okay.
Yeah.
What gets me is if you're at like 8 subs and you're like, everybody sub, let's get me to 500 or
the like 500 giveaway. It's like you're at 9, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And guess what? If they sub now to get you to 500, if they don't win the giveaway, they're all unsubbing. You're gonna be back down to 9. You know.
Yeah. Well, 600.
598. Come on, boys and girls. I need 2 more. I need 2 more idiots out there to go and sub.
If I get 600, I hit my goal of staying at 100 a month since we started the channel.
Okay, I'm gonna refresh. Still at 598. Come on, people.
I'm out of accounts. I've only got 3.
All of mine are already on there, so
I think mine are too.
I look just to make sure, but yeah, they
Adam says I've got 11. Let's get me to 15.
Awesome. We can do that.
Guys, if you're going to be at goals, please go say hello to Adam over at SDS.
Yep.
You got to meet Adam. So he's a good one.
Don't say hi to me. I'm good.
I would 599, folks. 599.
Oh, and then while I'm at it, State of the Second podcast this week is with the Vertex, and it's the first podcast I've done without a co-host. So this one's going to be interesting.
This could be terrible then.
It's just me, Tony Lott, and Ryan Nash from Vertex having a great conversation for an hour and a half.
Ooh, that could be bad.
We'll see.
All right, you sold me. You sold me. I'm going to go and check it out then. Let me reload here. Still at 599. I need one more poor soul to create an account real quick. And while we're doing this, Clover, what you got going on with your channel?
Where's Gizzard when you need him, right?
No shit, because Gizzard's got 11. He can get you real quick.
So I am unlike Ginger up there. I've got 2 high points here that I picked up Saturday that we'll be playing with soon. So there you go.
You actually had a sub thing not too long ago. You hit a milestone. Congratulations.
Oh, I hit 20K not that long ago.
You did.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I say that. It's been a couple of weeks or so now or something. But yeah. I don't know. We're gonna play Will of Infringement Jeopardy eventually again, but I don't know what milestone I'm gonna do that around. But
Yeah.
that's a good time, and I've got so much stuff I could give away. Anyway, who cares about that?
You could give Chinese optics packaging pops that could give people COVID. I mean,
well,
that's awesome. If not, Chris has some for you can borrow.
This is true, man. Between Amazon Vine and other stuff companies have sent and other things, it's like, oh my god, the crap I've got. Working on the next few weeks, hopefully to nail down all the guests for the new podcast season coming up. Obviously, got goals and TriggerCon on the horizon. I don't even know the videos, man. Last I checked on the video board, I think there's like 20 videos that need to get done. Freaking like way more than half of them are like have to get done. Type stuff.
I'm sure.
Not even things I want to get done. But we've got the Ross Martin is here. Those high points are here. The Henry Homesteader's here. As far as guns go, man, Federal was so good to me with 30 super carry ammo that we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff with 30 super carry still moving forward. Got those shotgun sights in, but that's a whole other ball of wax. So getting things set up, getting to the back of the property to do shotgun videos.
Yep.
But really looking forward to that. Just a lot of stuff. If we can stay out of hurricanes, I think the rain for the most part is settled. So we don't have that to deal with. Just got to deal with the heat and the skeeters, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's summertime in the South, though. So,
Yeah.
All right. Well, go check out Christmas 740. Great channel. Does great work over there. Go check out Clover. Go check out Gunners of America. And if you really want to, we need one more person to go subscribe to Fully Loaded Reviews to get him to 600 subs. Just let's see, refresh. No, we're still at $5.99. So there you go. But go check that one out. Thank you guys for sticking around for 2 hours and 16 minutes. Great conversation. I do want to hear in the comments, what would be your ultimate gun build? What would you do? What's the platform? What caliber? What barrel length? All that stuff. Let me know what you guys would do. And if you have any requests or any ideas on topics, put those in the comments as well. Like I said, if you are listening to this in podcast form, we don't ask much, but maybe if you're doing that, rate, review, and share. That does help us out on the podcast form. So go check us out over on Firearms Radio Network as well. It's a great place for some really cool podcasts and all that. But yeah.
Hey.
Yo.
Check it one more time.
Uh-oh, did you create another account?
No, but I hit somebody on Discord with the link. I'm like,
oh yeah, 600. Ginger, you just hit 600.
We can't leave hanging Chad at $5.99, man.
We could leave the hanging Chad.
That would have been mean. But we did it.
And I'm going to refresh it now. It's probably back to 5. No, it's still at 600. So congrats, Ginger. I think he went to go use the restroom or something, but
that's fine. He'll see it.
He'll see it. But yeah, thanks guys for coming in. Topic listing veteran organizations. That could be interesting. Because there are so many different avenues to go down with organizations for so many different things. That might be something we do. You know what, G? What I'll maybe do is get you on the Jarhead podcast. Maybe we go live for the Jarhead podcast one time, and we could do that, but use it as a Jarhead podcast instead of an Armed Citizen. That'd be kind of a cool one. By the way, Ginger, you did hit 600, so congrats.
Woo! Thank you, guys.
There you go. Adam says, I might have been 600. I may have never hit that subscribe button, so it could have been Adam that hit the final. He had the final one.
Adam, you're the best. Adam, you're the best.
I mean, I don't know if he's the best. He's pretty good.
But, he's the best person on the east side of East Tennessee that name does not begin with a K.
Well, that's because she's your boss.
Well, Steve's over there too.
Oh, I'd definitely pick Adam over Steve.
I think so too.
Just kidding.
No, just kidding.
No, I love Steve. All All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. Get to the range. Be more proficient with your firearms. Make sure you're staying in tune with local, state, and federal legislation, 2A legislation. Make sure that your elective representatives are doing their job. If not, guess what? This year is an election year, and we can change that shit quickly. Most importantly, just enjoy your freedoms of being American, one of which is to keep and bear arms. We'll see you next week. Semper Fi.